Have you ever believed you were doing your body a favor by reheating yesterday's dinner, only to realize that the quick blast of heat might be doing something you never intended? It's a strange betrayal. The same plate that smelled comforting the night before returns to the table looking innocent, while its chemistry has quietly shifted in ways your eyes can't track. We love the convenience, the thrift, the tidy feeling of not wasting food. But some ingredients don't like the second act. Under heat for the first time, they soften, open up, and become nourishing. Under heat again, especially after sitting in the fridge a day or two, they can throw off compounds your gut and brain would rather avoid. This isn't panic talk. It's kitchen realism. Certain foods are perfectly fine fresh yet become problematic when reheated in a hurry. Knowing which ones matter, why the risks crop up, and how to dodge them without throwing out your routine is the art of safer leftovers. Start with the leafy celebrity that finds its way into smoothies, omelets, soups, and salads. Spinach carries the halo of virtue because it deserves it. Iron, folate, vitamin K, magnesium, and a flotilla of plant chemicals that soothe inflammation and support circulation. But the same plant also holds generous stores of nitrates. Fresh from the pan or tossed raw, those compounds aren't villains. They can even help blood vessels relax. The trouble arrives later, when cooked spinach spends time cooling, resting, and then taking another spin through high heat. Nitrates can shift into nitrites, and nitrites can pair with amines to form nitrosamines, a chemical family you do not want courting your tissues. You won't taste that chemistry. It won't smell off. Older bodies with slower detox pathways are especially vulnerable, not because the spinach is bad, but because repeated low-dose exposures stack up, the way a dripping tap wears stone smooth. The fix is gentleness and timing, not fear. Imagine Sunday night. A big pot of vegetable stew, heavy with carrots, beans, and thick ribbons of spinach. You portion it, refrigerate it, and by Tuesday you're starving. You microwave a bowl until it steams. The spinach looks perfect, collapsed and silky, but chemistry's already moved the furniture around. If you love cooking once and eating twice, shift tactics. Add delicate greens at the end in the portion you'll eat right now, not in the whole pot. Keep the base soup in the fridge and stir in fresh spinach only when you reheat on the stovetop over low heat, just enough to wilt. If the greens are already in there, consider eating the leftovers cold or room temperature, like a rustic salad with a splash of olive oil and lemon. If warming is non-negotiable, nudge the heat low, stir often, and avoid multiple reheats. Fresh, gentle, one and done, those three habits keep the dish a friend. Potatoes, the humble comfort that makes a meal feel like home, have their own backstage story. Cooked hot, their starches turn soft and friendly. Cool them down, and the starch retrogrades, reorganizing into a resistant form that can be a mixed blessing. A little resistant starch is good for gut microbes. Too much, handled poorly, can make reheating tricky. The bigger red flag isn't starch at all, though, it's storage. A foil-wrapped baked potato left on the counter to cool slowly creates a low-oxygen pocket that certain bacteria adore. Clostridium botulinum doesn't announce itself with a smell or a funny color. It just does its work in the dark, crafting neurotoxins that no one wants in their nervous system. Reheating unevenly, as microwaves often do when the center lags behind the edges, can leave cold spots that never get hot enough to matter. The potato still tastes like comfort, but the risk rides along where you can't see. Picture the ritual. You roast a sheet pan of potatoes on Sunday, crisp edges and fluffy centers, the kitchen smelling like rosemary and warmth. You eat some, slide the rest into the fridge still snug in foil, and tell yourself you'll be glad later. Wednesday arrives, and you nuke a wedge on a plate, impatient and busy. Safer is simple. Unwrap foil as soon as dinner's done, let the steam escape, and cool the potatoes quickly on a clean tray before sealing them in an airtight container. The next day, skip the microwave's guesswork and use an oven or skillet so heat travels more evenly. Slice the potatoes so the warmth can reach every corner. Warmth that's thorough is warmth that protects. If you want a no-reheat option, turn the leftovers into a quick salad with mustard, herbs, and a splash of vinegar, a trick that keeps texture pleasing and the risk profile tame. Above all, don't reheat twice. Eggs look harmless in every costume they wear. scrambled clouds, hard-boiled coins, a glossy fried eye. They deliver complete protein, B vitamins, and choline, the brain's quiet helper. Yet the second trip through high heat, particularly in a microwave, roughs them up. Proteins that were denatured once become dense and rubbery. Sulfur compounds whisper their rotten egg note, and cholesterol in the yolk can oxidize into forms the body reads as inflammatory. Inflammation is the soft-spoken saboteur of long life. It stirs in blood vessels, tugs at memory, and leaves small fingerprints on systems that thrive on calm. You won't see or smell that oxidation as anything other than a tougher bite, but your body notices. For someone older, with arteries that have lost a touch of spring and a metabolism that's less forgiving, even little choices like microwave or not add up across months. Think of the Sunday habit. A dozen eggs boiled, ready for quick breakfasts. By Thursday, your morning is chaos, so you peel one and give it 20 seconds in the microwave. It feels like the responsible move. Protein before the day starts. There's an easier swap. Keep hard-boiled eggs cold and eat them as they are. Slice them over greens with olive oil and salt. Mash them with yogurt and herbs. Dice them into grain bowls. If you must warm them, do it the old-fashioned way. A small pan, the gentlest flame, a splash of water, lid on, a minute or two until just warm. For scrambles and omelets, cook only the portion you'll eat right away. And if you're the meal prep type, pivot the prep from fully cooked eggs to prepped vegetables and sauces. Then cook the eggs fresh in 3 minutes flat. Convenience can be redesigned. Your body will appreciate the blueprint. Chicken is the hero of weekday protein, leaning, forgiving, ready to become anything, from brothy soups to seared salads. The first cooking makes its proteins tender and welcoming. The second pass, especially at high temperature or under the impatient zap of a microwave, tightens those proteins like a fist, asking your stomach to work harder. For people whose digestive acid has stepped down with age, that extra work can show up as heaviness, bloat, or the nap that crawls over you after lunch. There's also the question of advanced glycation end products, those cranky molecules that form when proteins and sugars mingle under heat over and over. Ages do not love us. They coax the body toward inflammation, which nudges joints, vessels, and the brain in directions we'd rather not go. Your senses catch a hint of this when reheated chicken tastes off, a little rubbery, a little dry. That texture is part of the story. Rewrite the script with tenderness. Cook smaller batches so there's less to reheat. If you have leftovers, slice the meat before warming, moisten it with a little stock or olive oil, and reheat in a covered skillet on low so steam can protect the fibers. Stir occasionally. Patience is seasoning. Or skip heat entirely. Shred cold chicken into a lemony salad with celery and dill. Toss it with grapes and toasted nuts. Fold it into a wrap with crunchy greens. If roasting a whole bird, save the second-day protein for soup, where gentle simmering happens in liquid rather than dry heat, which keeps the proteins more forgiving. And as with eggs, avoid reheating twice. Once warmed, it gets eaten or it gets repurposed cold. Those are the safer lanes. Mushrooms feel like the forest's small gift to dinner, earthy and deeply satisfying. Their matrix of delicate proteins, enzymes, and lipids is a marvel when cooked once. Flavors bloom, textures turn silky, and nutrients like ergothioneine show up ready to help. But mushrooms don't enjoy a second furnace. Reheating can collapse their structure into rubber, push lipids toward oxidation, and confuse the enzymes your digestion deploys to handle them politely. If moisture has collected in storage, especially in plastic where condensation loves to cling, the texture change on reheating is your warning light. The culinary equivalent of breaks that don't feel right underfoot. You can avoid a lot by treating mushrooms as a cook-what-you-need ingredient. And when leftovers happen, glass containers help keep extra moisture at bay, which keeps the second-day experience closer to what you wanted the first night. Imagine last night's mushroom risotto, creamy and perfect. Today, the microwave dries the rice at the edges, while the mushrooms bounce rather than bite. Better practice looks like low heat in a pan with a splash of stock, stirring gently until steam rises, or, if you can stand it, eating the dish at room temperature with a squeeze of lemon to wake it back up. Cold mushrooms can be gorgeous. Sliced, draped with olive oil, cracked pepper, and a thin snowfall of Parmesan, tumbled with arugula and walnuts, or layered on toast with goat cheese. Keep portions modest when you cook them the first time, and the story never needs a sequel. And if a sequel is inevitable, make it a whisper, not a shout. Low heat, patience, and no repeats. All these details add up to one theme: food is chemistry in motion. Heat arranges molecules. Time rearranges them again. Reheating writes a third draft. The results can be delicious or difficult. Microwaves aren't evil, but they often heat unevenly, which matters most with the 5 foods we've been circling. The container matters too. Glass and ceramic keep flavors truer and reduce condensation compared to many plastics, which can trap steam and create soggy pockets. Cooling speed matters. Shallow containers cool faster than deep ones, and the fridge wants your leftovers within 2 hours, sooner if the room is warm. Labeling helps because time is an ingredient. Day 3 isn't day 1. And the rule to tattoo on your kitchen memory is simple: reheat once. The second reheat is where taste and safety both begin to fray. Some people can shrug off a culinary misstep. Others can't afford to. Older adults carry less stomach acid, slower motility, and immune defenses that have seen a lot of miles. Infants and pregnant people have their own special considerations. Anyone with a compromised immune system needs leftovers to behave perfectly. The gut-brain axis, the living highway between microbes, nerves, and mood, doesn't love toxins, oxidized fats, or inflammatory sparks. Repeated little exposures become a background hum you stop noticing until sleep is thinner, energy is flatter, and focus is harder to hold. None of this demands a fear of food. It asks for attention to timing, temperature, and technique, the invisible seasonings you can't sprinkle but can practice. Convenience doesn't need to vanish. It just needs a makeover. Prep components rather than finished dishes that hate the second day. Make a pot of grains, wash and chop hearty vegetables. Blend a sauce. Cook proteins in smaller runs. For soups that will last, hold delicate greens out and add them fresh as you reheat. Or, better yet, ladle hot broth over raw spinach so it wilts in the bowl. For potatoes, plan cold versions you actually crave. Mustardy salads with herbs, roasted potato slices tossed with vinegar and capers, breakfast bowls served chilled with yogurt and cucumber. For eggs, fall in love with the unheated leftover, the cold slice over toast, the picnic egg with a pinch of salt. For chicken, invite broth back into the picture, or invent cold salads that feel composed rather than second-day compromises. For mushrooms, buy just enough and treat their leftovers like antipasto, not an obligation. A useful trick is to build heat buffers into your reheating. Liquids protect proteins, so soups and stews generally reheat more safely than dry slabs of meat. Steam and gentle simmering keep temperatures even, which helps texture and safety in tandem. Cutting food into smaller pieces before reheating shortens the time it sits in the danger zone and helps heat travel to the center quickly. Stir while you rewarm. Rotate plates in the microwave if you must use it. Give dishes a minute to rest so heat can equalize. When you store, spread hot foods in shallow containers to cool. Don't seal steam inside, and move them into the fridge promptly. Your future self thanks you whenever you stack those habits together. It's tempting to believe our senses will warn us when food has become a problem, but smell and sight are bad detectives for chemistry. Off odors can appear when it's already too late. Meanwhile, dangerous compounds form invisibly. That's why the guidelines sound almost ceremonial. Cool quickly, store in airtight glass, reheat gently, and only once. It's not superstition. It's a way to shape the chemistry in your favor. The payoff is quiet. You won't get a medal for not oxidizing egg yolks or for refusing to microwave that foil-wrapped potato. You might get something better. Steadier energy, calmer digestion, and the slow absence of issues that never quite start. If you share a kitchen with others, make the rules easy to see and simpler to follow. Keep a stack of shallow containers within reach so no one reaches for foil by habit. Put a pen and tape near the fridge and label the day a dish was made. Place a small saucepan on the front burner as a visual nudge that low heat is an option even on a rushed morning. Store delicate greens separately from soups and stews so they don't get married before they need to be. Teach the trick of adding spinach into hot bowls at the table rather than cooking it into the pot. When the kitchen cooperates with your best intentions, you keep more of the nutrients you work to cook and fewer of the byproducts you'd rather avoid. There's also the question of portioning. The easiest way to dodge the reheating problem is to not have the problem at all. Cook enough for tonight, not the whole week. That sounds impossible until you try rotating quick proteins: eggs cooked fresh, sautéed fish, a small pan of chicken thighs, and let the time-saving live in your prepped vegetables, sauces, and grains. Keep the cook once, eat twice strategy for dishes that truly love it, like chili without leafy greens, brothy beans without delicate mushrooms, or roasted root vegetables that reheat well under a lid with a splash of water. Not all leftovers are landmines. The wisdom lies in knowing which ones want a second curtain call and which ones don't. None of this is about purity. It's about accumulation and tiny edits. One microwaved egg won't wreck your life. One reheated bowl of spinach soup won't rewrite your future. But if your habits lean on those moves daily, especially as the years add rings to the trunk, you set a background tone your body must play along with. Change the tone. Trade reheats for cold versions you actually love. Trade foil for glass. Trade high heat for a patient simmer. Trade the belief that convenience is a microwave button for the knowledge that convenience is foresight, gentleness, and a few smart containers within reach. So when you're standing in the kitchen tomorrow, hungry and half distracted, and your hand reaches toward a plate of leftovers, pause long enough to ask the simplest question. Does this food want to be cooked again? If it's spinach, maybe it becomes the raw green you stir into something warm at the very end. If it's potatoes, maybe they become a bright salad, not a radiated wedge. If it's eggs, maybe they stay cold and clean, their yolks untroubled. If it's chicken, maybe it slips into broth or gets folded into a crisp, cool wrap. If it's mushrooms, maybe you treat them like a delicate antipasto and enjoy their quiet. The choices are small. The results cumulative. The kitchen is still your friend. It just asks you to listen more closely when it whispers the difference between hot and harmful, warm and wise, convenience and care. If you found this helpful, hit that like button so more people can discover it, and make sure you subscribe for more health and food safety tips just like this. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video.